This episode of Twin Cities Trekkies is brought to you by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor before, let me explain. First of all, it's free. There are creation tools that help you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. You can easily make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership required. They'll also help you to distribute your podcast so it can be heard on many different platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's all you need in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right. Welcome to episode 9 of Twin Cities Trekkies. I am Wes.
And I'm Kenzie.
And in this episode, we're going to be talking about all of the Star Trek news that came out this past week. This is going to
Contact Day.
I think Viacom CBS is trying to, win back fans by doing they had a Star Trek Day panel last year on Star Trek Day, which was September 8th. Now for First Contact Day, they had a bunch of virtual panels, obviously because of the pandemic, but they had
the video game, like a little app that you could play.
Yep, that was yep. It's on Apple Arcade. I forget what it's called now, but they have a brand new video game. There was a lot of news regarding Discovery, Picard, Lower Decks, Prodigy, and another thing too is they also have announced a movie.
Yep.
Yeah, Paramount Pictures announced a movie this on Friday, which was Friday the 9th of April. Granted, they could have probably done it on First Contact Day. That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
But they announced that they are in the works for a new Star Trek movie coming out in June of 2023. So it was part of their. They announced it when they were shifting a few movies that they had planned for the summer because of the pandemic, and they announced it. It was in a blanket announcement with a bunch of other announcements. So, but everyone focused on that. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Prodigy, Lower Decks, Picard, Discovery news, and stuff like that. So, how to get in touch with us is tctrekkiespodcast@gmail.com is our email address. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. The same handle is for both, TC Trekkies Pod. You can find it pretty much on those things. And we are available everywhere you get podcasts. I think after the episode we did the other day when I was kind of like a little bit complaining about not being released on time, I think they're all in sync now. So I think they're all in sync. So because I have a Google Pixel and I have Google Podcasts, and they did release it on time for the episode we had with Tashelle, which was the last episode we did. So, yep. But every episode is available on Wednesdays. It's released at midnight Central Standard Time. So if you're on the East Coast, it's 1 a.m. But if you're on the West Coast, it's on that Tuesday at 10 p.m. Pacific. So that's when you get their episodes. And if you are finding us, how you find us, find us on Instagram, everything like that. Leave us comments, leave us feedback, 5-star ratings. Also, you can like the videos on YouTube. They're also on YouTube. They also release at the same time. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit that bell on YouTube. Okay, this is going to be a news-heavy episode, folks.
Because lots of opinions too.
Opinions theories about what's going on. So, I think I think we should start with the ones that happened on First Contact Day. There was like 5 panels throughout the day. They also had a mini marathon going on the website, on the Star Trek website. It was only available to US fans, unfortunately. They had like episodes that dealt with First Contact. Like they actually, I think they part of the marathon, they actually showed the film First Contact. I'm not sure, but they had a 25th anniversary panel for that film. They had Jonathan Frakes, Patrick Stewart, Alice Krige, who played the Borg Queen in First Contact.
Yeah.
Yep, and they also had Brent Spiner. So they had them, and it was moderated by Will Wheaton and Mika Burton, who did both of them, who did those panels. They did the Star Trek Day panels back in September. So, and Mika Burton is the daughter of LeVar Burton. So, in case anybody wanted to know, she is the daughter of LeVar Burton. So those two were hosting all the panels on Star Trek Day and on First Contact Day. I bet you there'll be one in September this year because of the 55th anniversary. So, but there was a bunch of announcements made. You know, there was one documentary that was a Fathom event. It was part of the Women of Motion panel or something like that. They had, I think they had a few people who were like big women and the big women stars of Star Trek. Like, I think they had Kate Mulgrew on that one, and Sonequa Martin Green from Discovery. And Paramount Plus made the announcement that the Women in Motion documentary, which was how Nichelle Nichols brought women and women of color into the space program. It was a Fathom event that was back in February in select theaters across the United States. Granted, some of them were closed already because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
It is going to be released in July. So I think it was June or July. I don't remember exactly when, but that documentary will be available for streaming on Paramount Plus in the summer. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, actually, because I actually was curious.
I haven't gotten to see it. I've only read about it, and then then the pandemic hit, and then it's like, okay, well, I guess we'll never know what happened to it.
Yeah, so now I'll be on Paramount Plus, so which is nice. That would be kind of cool. That I'm looking forward to seeing that in the summer. I'm looking forward to watching it, because that's how we got Mae Jemison. For example, Dr. Mae Jemison, who was in The Next Generation, in an episode of Next Generation, was because of Nichelle Nichols.
One of my favorite little Easter eggs to see that.
I know. It was kind of cool that you had an astronaut, a real life astronaut, in the cameo role in The Next Generation. And I remember I've seen the 30th anniversary special numerous times over the years. And she mentions about that, when she grew up watching Star Trek, watching Nichelle Nichols saying, "Hailing frequencies open, Captain." And she wanted to be that in real life. So, it's going to have a bunch of interviews with, I think one of the people that were interviewed was Nichelle Nichols herself. I mean, but there's also people in NASA and other scientific fields in the space program who watched Star Trek and, got to know Nichelle Nichols through that. And I think they may have interviewed Dr. Jemison. I'm not sure, but that would be pretty cool.
Surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised.
A really huge cameo to be on Star Trek, full circle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the Women of Motion and stuff like that, talking about Nichelle Nichols in the NASA program, will be in June on Paramount Plus for streaming. So that everyone gets to see it. It'll be kind of cool to see. I mean, I wish I was, and stuff like that. And I know Paramount Plus has expanded its programming since they have rebranded itself. Just a little divergence here. I mean, I like old Nickelodeon shows, which is part of the Viacom CBS family. They've expanded their programming for shows that were on Nickelodeon in the 90s. Stuff since they have been rebranded as Paramount Plus. which is a good thing. It's just a good thing. I can actually watch shows that I used.
It brings in a lot more people.
Yeah, it does, and I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I've watched one of the original series now, that premiered the day of Paramount Plus, which is SpongeBob's Camp Coral, which is SpongeBob's the prequel show. A little bit divergence here. My wife and I watched they released the first six episodes the day Paramount Plus launched, and we actually enjoy it more than the original series. So, because I think personally it's funnier than the original SpongeBob. So, yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The animation style is in the vein of the recent film, SpongeBob Sponge on the Run. So it's like that. So it's a little divergent there about Paramount Plus, but yeah. Okay.
And it's exciting to see that they've rebranded and done stuff, and then seeing them pull in things like documentaries and anything that's been lost during the pandemic, and making sure that they're highlighting that. Like, it makes me really excited that they're getting putting the Woman in Motion documentary in the forefront of something that they had announced alongside other news announcements, which we'll be getting to.
Yeah, exactly. So, let's move on. Let's move on to Prodigy. Yeah, we had the Hageman brothers on that panel, along with Kate Mulgrew, the main star of Prodigy, and we finally found out what Catherine Janeway will look like in the show.
So exciting! And then she's going to be
the emergency training hologram.
Yeah, I thought that was super cool.
I thought it was really cool. I mean, we don't know what the ship looks like. That's good. That's fine. I mean, but now we actually get to see what Janeway will look like. And to
get an idea of how this story is going to go with these new aliens.
Yep, and it's taking place 4 years after Nemesis, or 5 years after Voyager returned home.
Yep.
And it's in the Delta Quadrant in the year 2383. Which is about 3 years after Lower Decks started, too, if you want to get really technical. So she is playing the emergency training hologram modeled after Catherine Janeway.
I think it's a great ode, because I'm like, Captain Janeway went through a lot, so... I think that's a good idea for emergency. You need an emergency protocol on a ship, and you need a captain, a hologram captain. Probably Captain Janeway is the way to do it if you're lost way out somewhere and need help.
Yeah, and I really thought at one point when they had announced Kate Mulgrew being the main star of Prodigy, I thought that maybe the ship that the teenagers find would be a long-lost Voyager, and they seek out Janeway. They see.
Episode was that?
Yeah.
They had the Divergent one where they have basically a mirror version of themselves.
Yeah, Deadlock. Yeah. That's a good one. It's full of technobabble, but that one, I enjoy it, but that episode of Voyager is full of technobabble, and that's what you get from Brandon Braga, unfortunately, who wrote, not unfortunately, but that's what you get from him, who wrote the episode, so.
Yeah.
But, so that's what I thought at first was going to be like an abandoned version of Voyager, and they seek out Janeway, who teaches them the ideals of the Federation and stuff like that. But no! She is the emergency training hologram.
She is the doctor now.
Yeah, like the ECH, yes.
And you know what I wonder about, because one of the most substantial pieces of technology in Voyager was when they got that hologram.
Oh, the mobile emitter.
Yeah, the mobile emitter from the future, being able to use that. And I wonder if that's just standard then after they return from travels, to be like, all holograms get that now, because now they're free to walk anywhere with that, they have a mobile emitter, and I just wonder if that's just something she's just gonna have that, and she'll be able to go anywhere and do whatever.
Yeah, it will be really funny to see happen, because maybe they'll get, maybe they'll have a doctor, hologram.
The doctor shows up, be like,
yeah, Robert Picardo, come on. Yeah. That would be hilarious.
Make him sing some opera.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Robert Picardo. I would love to see him back in Star Trek somehow. I mean, granted, he was in initial negotiations to be in Picard season 2, which unfortunately is not going to happen. But maybe it'll happen. Who knows? But maybe it's in secret. But yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe you can have Robert Picardo and Kate Mulgrew as the EMH and the ETH. Talking with each other, and it'd be funny to see this happen, because Janeway hated getting physicals, from the doctor, and what if she is breaking down?
He would remember everything.
Yeah, maybe.
All instances of the emergency doctor in Voyager have memories of Captain Janeway? Like, has he ever interacted with the emergency protocol, Janeway?
Yeah.
Meaning like, I remember the original you. I know. Like.
Yeah, well, because what if she breaks down? Because what if she breaks down and they banter about you need to get fixed, and they say, no, I refuse to. God, that would be funny. Now we got the full crew with Janeway there. We still don't know who is the other voice cast, or still think that
a lot of it is mystery.
And one of the Hageman brothers mentioned that one of the characters is tied to the original series, and I have a feeling it's probably that big pink scaly guy. He looks like a Horta. So maybe he's a conscious Horta. Who knows? Who could talk?
Yeah.
And act dumb like Patrick Star.
Trying to look at the layout, I would try to be I don't know which one would be similar or something that would be referenced in the original series.
Yeah.
So that was something being I wonder which one it's gonna be that has the original series backstory. So
yeah, exactly, and that's what they said. So and that's interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. We don't know the premiere date yet. I mean, out of the shows that were announced and stuff like that, out of the panels that were announced, we only have one definitive date for one of them, which we can talk about now if you want.
Yes.
Lower Decks, season 2.
Action packed.
Yeah, they have a little trip. They had a little trailer out, so that was very nice to see that. They have already been renewed for a 3rd season, so I think Paramount Plus is pretty pleased with what the results are. I mean, I enjoy Lower Decks. I think it's it's funny, but it's the good kind of funny.
It's poignant, and they poke fun at tropes in Star Trek and sci-fi in general.
Yeah,
it means to be not a main character in stories like that, but all the stuff that goes on in the background of these main plots that we see happening, what happens when you fly into an anomaly in space and you're not the captain or the main bridge folk hearing about it. You're just an engineer working or doing a trip to a planet because you need to do a supply drop. And it's what does that whole plot look like to you, not being one of the main people on the ship?
Totally. Yeah. So yeah.
I just love that show.
Yep, and it's got renewed for a 3rd season. And out of the shows that were announced that day, they are the only ones who have a definitive premiere date, August 12th, which is actually almost a year to the date of season 1 being released last year.
That consistent.
Yeah.
Consistent. Do it.
Exactly. Yeah. So season 2 is premiering August 12th. We don't know much about that. It's just, it was funny. The trailer was funny and, that kind of thing. And we'll get to see both the Cerritos and the Titan because, was it Boimler is transferred over to the Titan. Mariner wasn't too happy about that. I remember that.
Yeah.
And speaking of Lower Decks, the first season will be released on DVD and Blu-ray in May. So I'm trying to get it. So I mean, I'm a physical media person too, so I like having it.
Cool.
Yep. Unfortunately, I wish this would happen. I wish this have like special features on every episode. Like how it was made, deleted animatics, that kind of thing. But I really wish like they did because Mike McMahon, who created Lower Decks, was one of the main writers behind Rick and Morty. And when they release their episodes on DVD and Blu-ray, they have an uncensored audio track, and so you get all the swearing. But unfortunately, with the season 1 Blu-ray release, probably because of the pandemic, it's just going to be the 10 episodes as they were originally broadcast. No uncensored track. So, I mean, I really wish they had, but it's okay. It's kind of sad, but I mean, because I would love to watch Lower Decks with the uncensored language.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, so yeah, August 12th, 2021, folks. Mark your calendars.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Man, we got a lot of news to tackle. But that's okay. That's okay. I mean, it needs to be shared. So, all right. So, I think we should wrap up Picard next. And
that's my highlight of it, because the whole time Picard has been on, I've been hoping for a Q appearance. So I'm excited.
Well, he did make a cameo. He did make a cameo in an episode of Lower Decks.
Actually, focus on it with Picard. It's just such a big dynamic throughout Next Generation, and like Q being a character that's throughout Star Trek. So I'm excited that it seems like then it's not just him showing up, that it's just going to be some sort of appearance. It'll be a focus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I honestly did not expect that. I mean, he had said in a cameo video for a fan that he would be coming back very soon. And obviously a lot of the Star Trek news sites caught wind of that and say, okay, is he going to be in Picard? And sure enough, he will be. So, and I guess they've talked. I mean, they were a little bit part of it. Like Patrick Stewart said, he comes in the most dramatic point in the episode. In an episode he first appears in. Yeah, because why else not?
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Why not? So that's when he will appear.
Anything less.
Exactly, and now, I mean, I watched the trailer like at least 5-6 times. There are a lot of things to unpack in that trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, granted,
being a quick little trailer like that, I think that has a lot of little like Easter eggs and just significance for just being a short.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we know when it will be released. Obviously, we know it will be released in 2022. But that's all. But the one big thing that I caught out of that trailer, which is a minute and a half long, which was the final frontier. The final frontier is always time, and there was like a model of the Stargazer on the desk. There was the painting of the Enterprise D that was in the Enterprise D ready room. And there was also the Reckoning tablet, the Bajoran Reckoning tablet that just goes smashed. I mean, could we get some DS9 in there? Who knows? We could get some DS9 in there. We could, the Stargazer was there. The Mintakan, I saw the Mintakan tapestry again, which was the first time I think I remember seeing it in Picard season 1 that much. So But I did see it. It was kind of nice to see that again, because I thought it may have been like, gone forever, or it was in its archive or something like that. But yeah, you got the Stargazer model, we got the Reckoning tablet, the Enterprise D painting. So
Paradise Lost, the book. And
John Milton's book, Paradise Lost, was in there. So I have a feeling that season 2 is going to be dealing with time travel. So somehow, is it going to be like I hope it doesn't become a redux of All Good Things. Jumping between different time periods, obviously, between the present and then the Enterprise D and the Stargazer. Granted, we might get a younger Picard somewhere in there. Might get 2 Picards. But, a younger actor playing younger Picard for the Stargazer era. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And then, at the end, the trial never ends. It's that ominous warning that Q had said in the final episode of Next Generation. The trial never ends. Yeah. So, maybe the trial will come to an end somehow. Yeah. Maybe. And now we got John Delancey returning as Q, which I was kind of surprised to see. We got Whoopi Goldberg back as Guinan. Speaking of that, I hope they actually do the duo this time, because between those 2 characters, because in the very first meeting between those 2 characters and Q Who in the Next Generation, they were just gonna about ready to pulsate energy from either one character there. So
it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, given their background and Historia throughout Next Generation, because near the end of Next Generation, throughout the whole synopsis of Next Generation, Picard and Q, obviously have a relationship, and Q even refers to Picard as the closest thing he has to a friend in the universe. So there is a sense of meaning and purpose behind when Q shows up wanting to do something with them. So I just wonder what him showing up entails. What is he trying to mentor Picard on, or what is he trying to help with or prevent, or give guidance on? It'll be interesting, but he has to do it obviously in an eccentric way, because he's an eccentric being.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm kind of curious to know what's going to happen.
What the point behind him appearing is.
Yeah, exactly. And Patrick Stewart had said that we're going into places that we have never seen before. So this means that we're probably going to get a lot of interesting things that we probably have never seen. So maybe we'll get some Stargazer for the first time. Some of the Lost Era stuff. So, which is part of the Lost Era, which is the Stargazer era. So maybe we will. Who knows? I'm looking forward to seeing that. I wonder how that's all going to, because here's a funny thing about it is Q has never met. Grant Q and Seven and I met once, but it's it'd be interesting to see how they interact. Q and Seven. So, granted,
with him given his whole hey, it's the Borg guys, good luck. No. And then it's meeting somebody who has come back from the Borg and being you're an interesting being in this universe, since this has never happened before. So, well, except besides Picard, but those 2 are the only 2 that have come back from the collective. So it makes sense. Interesting and unique beings going from collective to singular sets. And that, I think to Q, because he doesn't even fully understand the Borg. He understands what their purpose is, but I doubt it's something he's really delved into, and it's been you 2 are really interesting people.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, and granted, I wonder how he's going to treat Picard now that he's his human body is dead, but now he's back as this android hybrid person. So it's maybe it's something to do with that. Who knows?
Yeah, and then the whole like part of that trailer that is weird is like being like that they're in the real like chateau area, and I feel like I'm like, does this mean that he's going to somehow go back to being himself, and this is the real place? Who knows? I don't know. I'm like, is this all like a hologram, like a holodeck thing? Like, what is this? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. We'll find out in 2022. And then there was Discovery. And, we had a short trailer about them. They were the first ones to go back to production in the midst of the pandemic. We got a new 1.5-minute trailer. We know when it will be released. It will be released later this year, which is kind of interesting to see that we just got done with season 3, excuse me.
Yeah.
So, and, it's like
they got new uniforms again.
Yeah, exactly. Granted, I think that was probably a good decision because I think the Starfleet uniforms in season 3 of Discovery were crap. So
I think we touched on that a little bit with
we did
with our episode about uniforms because they're very meh.
Yeah, they were like very much motion picture. So, but I think Gersha Phillips, who designs the costumes for Discovery, had said the reason why they changed them was because of the contrast, because it was kind of blending into the background, and I understand why. Because now they got these. I think they're pretty cool. I think I like them. I like them now. With the red for command, yellow for operations, and blue for science, and white for medical. So
yeah.
So it's gonna be kind of cool to see that. We only saw like a little bit of.
It was giving me some Tron vibes, like the uniforms.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, this feels like Tron. I'm like, this is cool, but also like, I'm like, what's going on that everyone has to wear their like helmets and stuff? Like, what's going on where you're gonna have to be putting on a full spacesuit, which you don't usually see that often in Star Trek. People aren't putting on full helmet spacesuits for things. So
yep.
Wow, like something big's going on.
Yeah, it's gonna be something big. It's some kind of spatial anomaly, I guess. But we get to see more characters, I guess. We'll get to see the Federation president, apparently, I think. Who apparently, we saw a little bit of that character. Half human, half Cardassian.
Interesting.
Yeah, and female.
More Cardassians, which would be cool.
Yeah, we did see a little bit of Cardassians in season 3. Granted, they didn't have any speaking parts, but they were there.
Yeah, Cardassians were such a big. Like I personally, some of my favorite. That'll be an episode. Maybe we'll have to talk about like our favorite like alien species throughout Star Trek. But I feel like at least given all the series, like Cardassians are one of my favorite like fleshed out alien races in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like, just given what Deep Space Nine did with them, and just seeing like the full extent from like looking at someone like Garrick to Gul Dukat, and like just I just really like how fleshed out their alien verses. So that's exciting to me.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see that, and it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with other things as well. Like Saru took a leave of absence, and he's helping to acclimate the what's his name, the call, something like that. I don't remember the name now. Sukal. I had to remember that now. Acclimated to Kaminar, which has actually changed in the years since they left. Stuff like that. And Saru is kind of an ambassadorial role, but he'll be back. He was never going to leave. Doug Jones is never going to leave. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. With the whole season. Granted, we saw some of the crew just like, fly out of their seats. And it's like, it's going to kind of see how that all plays out,
Yeah.
Like they're all flying out of their seats, and I'm going, what? It'd be interesting to see. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with the other characters that we're seeing too, like Gray and Adira too. Yeah, because I'm looking forward to seeing their relationship. With with Hugh Culber and Paul Stamets evolve. That kind of thing. I'm looking forward to seeing that. That kind of thing. So it's going to be interesting to see that happening. And speaking of Discovery, they have won the GLAAD Media Award for Best Outstanding Drama Series. Nominated every single year it's been on the air. This is the first time they won. So, this is, well deserved, exactly. So who accepted the award were Bru Del Barrio, who plays Adira, Ian Alexander, who plays Gray, and then Wilson Cruz and Anthony Rapp. They were the ones who accepted the award on behalf of the series. And so they won their first media award for Outstanding Drama Series. That kind of thing. Oh, and speaking of Picard, I forgot about this. Hanelle Culpepper had won the NAACP Image Award for her work on the first episode of Picard. So that was pretty good. They were nominated 3 times. They had 3 nominations. They only won 1, and it's the first Image Awards that the franchise has been nominated in almost a quarter of a century. So I think it's doing no small fair to Rick Berman, but that's beside the fact. It's just I'm not a big fan of Rick Berman. I'm just not a big fan.
I agree.
Yeah, it's nothing. I mean, I have a really big issue with Rick Berman.
Many people agree.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with Rick Berman, but that's just me. So so she won the first. She won NAACP Image Award for her work on the first episode of Star Trek Picard and stuff like that. And so the other 2 nominations were for Lower Decks. One was for the series itself, and the other one was for Don Lewis, who plays Captain Freeman in Lower Decks. So, but Hanelle Culpepper won, so that's good news for her. She's a very good director. She's been with Star Trek since the first season of Discovery, directing the shortest episode ever, Bolting Ambition. It's the shortest episode to date of the series, but I think she's a phenomenal director. Seeing her work on Picard, and she directed some other shows too, like Criminal Minds, that kind of thing. Like for her CBS shows, she does a phenomenal job. So, hats off to
filmography, discography.
Yeah, exactly. So hats off to her. Yeah. So So Discovery season 4 will be back in later 2021, probably towards the end of the year, I would assume.
Yeah.
Because they're still filming season 4, and I think with the pandemic hitting Toronto pretty hard, they're probably in delays and stuff like that, and filming, that kind of thing. Because I think Toronto is still under a lockdown order.
They went into a new lockdown because of outbreak happening again.
So Toronto, that's probably affecting Strange New Worlds as well, which we didn't get any panel about. We didn't get any trailer.
Yeah, I was really surprised about that.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that too.
Because given that it was such a big deal, it'd be like, surprise, we're having this. Like, is this happening? And it's like, ooh, it's so exciting. And then pulling those the shorts and stuff, being like, we're gonna continue with this storyline and flesh it out more. And then didn't have anything to say about it, so I'm like,
I would assume we'll probably get something towards for Star Trek Day. Like towards then, I would think we would get more information, more maybe a trailer by then, stuff like that. So, right now Toronto is under a lockdown, unfortunately. So maybe it is affecting both the Discovery and Strange New Worlds. We don't know, but we don't know if they're exempt. We don't know if they're exempt because Hollywood, when they were able to go back into production, when they because they had a 3-month break in production for anything, and last year, and they made a deal with the Hollywood studio to say, okay, we can do this. We can have a way to test people, isolate people if they're infected and stuff like that with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe the same thing is the same in Toronto. We're not sure. So, but it's unfortunate that, it is causing our lockdown up in Toronto. So we don't know if it's affecting Strange New Worlds or Discovery. We don't know. So, yeah, we have no idea. So, we
know that it exists and it's going somewhere.
Yep, exactly. All right. And on, a few days later, we got the news that Paramount Pictures has finally cracked the code somewhat of making another Star Trek film. So, I mean, we've had false starts in the last 6 years.
The Quentin Tarantino rumored Star Trek movie.
Yep.
And I mean, they're having J.J. Abrams apparently directing this other one coming up now too. So
yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, they had signed up for a fourth Kelvin timeline film right before Beyond hit theaters. And unfortunately, Beyond didn't do very well at the box office, which is unfortunate because personally, I think it's the best one of the Kelvin timeline films because it definitely felt like a good action adventure story. I thought it was a really good story. Everything was that, Mm-hmm. But it's unfortunate that it didn't do very well, and it's unfortunate because I think, like I said, I think it's the best one, but in the summer of 2016, there was a lot of films coming out that were more successful, unfortunately. I think we had a crowded summer that year. We had Ghostbusters. We had also the Independence Day sequel, Independence Day Resurgence. I saw that movie. I enjoyed it. That didn't do too well either. We also had like a few superhero movies in that time, straight like Suicide Squad, that kind of thing. It was a crowded summer that year.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that Paramount didn't do very much to celebrate 50 years of Star Trek because that's when they were trying to do it, was for the 50th anniversary. And I remember a lot of articles reading like if they had released it towards the 50th anniversary date, Beyond probably would have done a lot better in the box office.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, it was in July. I think Paramount learned their lesson and don't release a film in July for Star Trek. So we do have a definitive release date, June 9th, 2023, which is 34 years to the date of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. So that was the last time a Star Trek movie was released in June. Because all of them have been in December, November, or May, as in the case of the first Kelvin timeline film, or July, which was Beyond. So, but some of the other ones were released in, like, the more popular Star Trek films were released in June. But definitely, June 9th, 2023. So this was actually in a blanket announcement by Paramount, by the way, folks. They had announced delays of the Top Gun sequel, Mission Impossible 7 and 8. Some of their big tentpole franchises like Mission Impossible and stuff like that are being delayed in release because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Like Top Gun Maverick, which is the long gestating sequel to the 87 film, is going to be released later on this year, and then Mission Impossible 7 will follow that later on in 2021, I think, or 2022, or early 2022, and then the sequel to that will be in 2022. Yeah. But it was in a blanket announcement, folks. It was just in a blanket announcement. So, but, so we got a Star Trek movie coming out. We don't know exactly what it's going to be about. We don't know. It could be the Beyond sequel. It could be the Tarantino movie. It could be the one that was recently announced that was announced last month. Kalinda Vasquez, who is a writer on Star Trek Discovery, was tapped to write a movie for Star Trek by Bad Robot Productions. It could be that one, but they're saying it's probably a separate project altogether.
Yeah.
So it could be that, who knows? It could be anything. I mean,
I have no idea where it's gonna go.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out in 2.5 years, because they gotta get on the ball if they want to get it done by that time. Because you got maybe 2 or 3 months to film, and then they gotta have a year to do visual effects. So, they gotta start probably filming this summer if they want to get it done by then. So, but it'll be interesting to see what's gonna happen. I mean, I was excited about the Beyond sequel when it was announced. I mean, gonna have time travel and Kelvin Kirk meeting his dad. I thought it was gonna be kind of cool to see that. So, I guess we'll find out in that by then. So, I guess we'll find out. It'll be interesting to see what's gonna happen. I mean, it's definitely a great time to be a Star Trek fan, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. It's super exciting to have so much content, so much news, and it's so exciting. I will be happy for a new film regardless of where it goes, because so far the new things that have come out have just been so great that I have full trust that whatever is getting produced is going to be awesome. Yeah,
same here. I feel the same way. I'm looking forward to all that, especially. I mean, I can't wait. The one I'm really looking forward to, is Picard. I'm kind of curious how Q ties into everything here. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see that happening, and that kind of thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the next year or so, or, starting maybe later on this summer, maybe Lower Decks will be first. Who knows? And then Prodigy, and then Discovery. Who knows? But maybe that's probably what's going to happen. It's probably going to be, because I know the main goal is to have Star Trek on every single week of the year on Paramount Plus. So maybe they're starting off with Lower Decks and then going continuously for a long while after that. Who knows? But it's going to be interesting to see what happens, with everything. It's just got to reiterate again, it's a great time to be a Star Trek fan, especially if you're enjoying everything that's come out. Granted, there'll be naysayers out there who says, Lower Decks isn't canon. I had a big fight with somebody the other day on social media about that. I had a big fight with somebody on social media about that. Yeah, I don't freely admit, I had a big fight with somebody on social media about that the other day. It was because someone said, Lower Decks isn't canon. Well, unfortunately, it is. So, sorry to say, but it is.
It is, whether you like to believe it or not, because it fully supports, alien, all the different parts of what make it canon, from alien races to how the ship runs to the Prime Directive, all the things that they discuss and operate around are canon.
Exactly.
Humor the way it's written isn't for you, that doesn't make it not canon, because everything that is structuring the story is built on Historia that is accurate for Star Trek.
All right, I think we're gonna wrap it up now for this 9th episode of Twin Cities Trekkies. Is there anything you wish to add, Kenzie, at all?
No, just that I'm super excited for all of the upcoming things, and I just want to hear more about what people's theories are, especially for things like Q being back and what people think the Star Trek movie will end up being.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear about what people think about those.
I Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that. I forgot to mention, it will be the longest if it does come out on that date, June 9th of 2023. It will be the longest gap between films in franchise history.
Yeah, it's been a long
The longest gap before then was
time. Sorry, I'm throwing the Enterprise song every time I say that.
Oh, I know, it's okay. But yeah, it's all good. But yeah, so the longest gap before then was between Nemesis and Star Trek 2009. So that was the longest gap before then. So if it does come to fruition, it will be the longest gap between films in Star Trek and franchise history. So, which, I mean, I was excited. The final thought here. I mean, I was actually looking forward to a Quentin Tarantino film.
My dad and I were so pumped about that.
Yeah, an R-rated Star Trek film. Oh, come on, you'll get me in the butt in the seat because I'm kind of curious. Yeah. I mean, because I would love have you ever seen that trailer? That like fake trailer.
Oh yeah.
With the whole thing with the like Pulp Fiction kind of like voyage to vengeance.
Totally do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to write like really like Star Trek is really primed for being able to do almost like a Western like type of trope, and he does Western style movies super well, like the Westerns.
Yeah,
he's written. So I'm like, oh, we'd totally be able to have that. I know they'd be able to do it. Yeah, exactly. And
he's done our directing of our other productions, like episodes of other episodes of other shows, and he's been able to stay within their realm of what needs to be done and whatnot. So, I mean, I was looking forward to if it was an R-rated Star Trek film, get my butt in the seat. You'll get my butt in the seat. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's gonna be fun to see what happens. It's gonna be one roller coaster of a ride. So,
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. So, okay, so preview for next week, episode 10 is going to be our favorite, because now, speaking of the Star Trek film, we're going to be we'll be talking about our favorite Star Trek films. Granted, there's only 13, but
ranking them though.
Ranking them will be great. So until next time, take care and live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper, Pete.